What's crack-a-lackin'? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Hey! Welcome in, everybody, to episode 205. I am your host, Sleazebomb. Today's episode is going to be my top 10 bounce back players for 2025 in fantasy football. I'm going to give you their 2023 stats or 2024 stats, and then we're going to look at the metrics and why I like these players heading into next season. And of course, we still have the draft coming as well, so we'll talk about that. We're about 4 weeks away, and I promise I'll be getting my rookie running back rankings out soon. I'm just trying to perfect it to the best I can. This class is absolutely loaded, so that will be later this week, guys. And as always, guys, before we head into it here, smash that like and subscribe. All the support's appreciated. You guys have been absolutely amazing. And let's dive in to my top 10 bounce back players that you should be targeting in fantasy football for 2025. Starting off with number 1, CJ Stroud of the Houston Texans. Now, everyone is super down on this guy's draft value this year. I'm going to tell you why he's a steal here coming up this season. But let's look back at the stats for 2024. So 3,727 passing yards down year, 233 rushing yards. Like to see that a little bit. He had a very bad offensive line. 20 passing TDs, 12 picks. You'd like to see the picks come down as well. QB 18 on the season. QB 11 as a rookie. So you see a little digression there, right? Or regression. 13.7 points per game, 232.2 fantasy points. Production premium was even negative. It's one of my favorite stats. If you guys subscribe to my channel, I've described it a million times. It is one of my favorite things that I look at for fantasy football. Completion percentage, 68.6%, number 26. Very bad. But you got to remember, Nico was out. Tank was out. I'm blanking right now on the third one. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, Stephon Diggs went out early in the season. Jesus, sorry. Brain fart. Passer rating 89.2. That's number 22. Not that great there either. 49.8 QBR, number 24. Deep ball attempts, though, 65. You know this guy's a candidate, likes to sling it. But when you're looking at those numbers, right, you see the QBR low, the pass rating low, the completion percentage low. Like I said, Nico Collins out. Tank Dell out. Stephon Diggs out. Stephon Diggs was wide receiver 8, getting 15 points a game before the injury. Now they bring in Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk can play this role at a younger age. And I'm not going to say he's going to hit that same production premium, but he's one of the targets I like late in drafts as well, too, here. And now, when you think about the offensive line here, they do bring in Trent Brown. They did lose their all-pro left tackle. They're going to focus on it in the draft. And I'm going to be calling it right now that I'm going to be drafting him at his value. It's absurd how low he is, and that he's going to finish as a top 10 quarterback this year and have his best fantasy football season. Number 2, sticking with the quarterbacks here, is going to be Jordan Love of the Green Bay Packers. Last year finished QB 17, 3,389 passing yards, 83 rushing yards, 25 TDs, 11 picks. 1 rushing TD, which is amazing because you saw his knee buckle week 1. And this guy played in that Brazil terrible field, and he played hampered all year long. His value right now is such pure gold in fantasy football. I hope it doesn't change by the time the season gets here. But 16.3 points per game, 244 points on the season. Production premium was negative for him. That's unheard of after a QB 5 year last year. Completion percentage 68%, 29th, not well there. But again, you had Christian Watson go down, Romeo Doubs with concussions, Dontavian Wicks with brick hands. He couldn't catch anything. So it's going to be a different look. Jaden Reed led the NFL in drop percentage, which is crazy. And passer rating 97.8, 14th. But look at the QBR here, 69.4. QBR is still number 4. That's how elite this guy is, even with the bad year that happened for the Packers. Deep ball attempt, 68, number 5. You have to love that as well here. Now, when we're looking back at the Brazil injury, which his season was almost over on the first week of football. It was almost like, oh my God, he's done, right? Grinded through it, played all the way out to the end almost with it. You saw Malik Willis come in for a couple of games here. They leaned on Josh Jacobs like a machine last year. That is not going to happen this year. But now you have Christian Watson out 8 to 10 weeks as well. So that's going to be a little different look there for them. But this is going to be Dontavian Wicks' time to step up. Could they look to add some wide receiver draft in the help or wide receiver help in the draft? Of course they could. You know, I don't think it's that great of it. It's more of a top heavy wide receiver class and it is all the way down, but there is some sleepers. I would love to see Jaden Higgins land here. That would be an amazing landing spot for a 6'4" guy. Perfect for the Packers there. But I expect Jordan Love to return to his top 7 to 10 form this season. And he's one of the best values you can get in fantasy football, best ball, everything right now. Number 3, we're not quite done with the quarterbacks yet. It's going to be the old man, Matthew Stafford, re-signs with the Los Angeles Rams on a 2-year deal. But it is a, 1 year entailed. He can opt out next year, but they're going to have to restructure it again as it goes. But at least he's back in LA, right? So what happens is Last year, they're a playoff competitive team, and Matt Stafford is quarterback 19. 3,762 yards, rushing yards, obviously very low. He's not mobile at his old age. 20 passing TDs, very low for Matt Stafford. 8 interceptions, 13.9 points per game, 226 total points on the season. Production premium is positive, though. See, even in a bad year when your production premium is positive, that is one of the stats that I look at that I love. Completion percentage 69.5. That is going to go up this season, and we're going to get to why in a minute. Passer rating 90.4. That was number 20th. QBR 64.2. That's number 11. Deep ball attempts 50. That's number 15. All these numbers are going to skyrocket, guys. The addition of Davante Adams is so much bigger than people think. This man is going to destroy fantasy football in the Sean McVay system. It's not even going to be close. So now you're going to have Puka back healthy. Puka was hurt last year at the beginning. So when you look at those completion percentage, pass rating, all that, Kupp was a shell of himself down the stretch. He literally could get zero separation, which is why they let him go, even though it's Stafford's boy. And when you're thinking about it, I'm going to call this the quad four. And I tweeted this out yesterday. And the quad four, meaning that I think that Matt Stafford, I think that Kyren Williams, I think that Puka Nacua, I think Davante Adams, if they all stay healthy in the Sean McVay system, they are all four going to be top 10 players. And this is a very, very, very insane value you can get late in the drafts with Matthew Stafford. Heading over to the running back side, I know it says the Steelers. It should say the Chargers, obviously, for Najee Harris. But, man, this is one that I absolutely love. I will update that graphic, too, for future videos. But when you're looking at this situation that just happened for Najee Harris, it is absolutely amazing. But let's look at his 2024 first. So another 1,000-yard season. That's 4 straight for Najee Harris now. And that's 4 straight years that he has never missed a game. This man is a beast. He's just been cucked in the wrong system here. So, sorry, 1,043 rushing yards, 289 passing yards. He is a good receiving back still. 6 total TDs, 263 attempts. Expect those attempts to go 300 plus. Yards per carry, expect that to be in the 4.2 range. And he is running back 20 last year with 12.6 points, 204 points on the season. Production premium is negative. That's the first year he's had a negative production premium. Arthur Smith's system might be the problem for that. Snap share 50.2%. Think about that. He got 1,000 yards while splitting time with Jaylen Warren. Target share 10.4%. That's 20th. Routes ran 112. Like I said, he's still a good receiving back for his size. Explosive rating was still 103.2, which ranks in the 17th. Now, you get the massive Chargers offensive line. Bring in Mekhi Becton. Have Alt. We don't know what they're going to do in the draft. Could add a couple more pieces here. This is going to be monstrous for him. So, and then, and we look back here, look at J.K. Dobbins. The injured, hampered career, revamps his career, comes back, has a massive year with the Chargers. Even Gus Edwards finds the end zone. They combine for 13 rushing TDs as a Charger duo in the Harbaugh ground and pound system. Now, they've said that, of course, they might bring in a running back in the draft here. This draft is loaded. Of course, they're going to try and bring in one in the 4th, 5th, 3rd, whatever round it is here. But I'm telling you right now, the Najee Harris is going to be a top 10 running back with 12 plus TDs minimum. So if I'm looking at Gus and Dobbins getting 13, this guy's a goal line bully ball running back machine. 12 plus is the minimum. The floor, or that's the floor. The ceiling, 18, 19. Dude, who knows? I'm so enamored with Najee Harris and the Chargers this year. Like, I'm targeting him around early. That's how much I like Najee this year. Sticking with the running backs here, Christian McCaffrey, the big injury risk play here. But if this guy is at the end of the first round, I am not letting him slip past me just because we know he's the best when he's healthy. So look at last year, right? Injury, the Achilles in both legs, tried to come back, re-injured against the Buffalo Bills in the snow game. And I'm a Niner fan. Obviously, you can see behind me, very, very painful. I love CMC a ton. Only 202 rushing yards, 146 receiving yards, minimum work. Didn't even score a touchdown last year. If you'd have told me that at the beginning of the season, I'd have said you're crazy. 50 attempts, but a 4.04 yards per carry average. See, that's already better than Najee, the numbers looked at from last year. Running back 69, points per game was still 12. Only 47 points on the season, didn't play a lot, but look here. Look at this stat right here. Production premium is still plus 6.1. That is how good this man is when he's on the field. Snap share 75%. You got to like that. That's in the top 6. Target share 18.6%. Routes ran 64. Explosive rating still 105.2. Playing off an injury. This man is going to come back with a vengeance this season. The 49ers are in a little mini rebuild happening right now. So obviously the cap space killed us. We had to get rid of tons of players. We don't know if Ayuk's still going to be traded. It's going to be we have tons of draft picks in the draft. It's going to help us, build around for the mini rebuild. I don't think it's a full rebuild. I don't think we've committed to the full rebuild. I wish we did commit to the full rebuild, but we're still going to try and gut it out for one more year. It seems like here. So this is like the biggest risk reward pick you can get. And I know, and if you're out on him, that's fine. I can be fine with that too. You don't want to take the injury risk at the end of the first round or mid-second or early second, wherever he falls. I understand that. It's just the production is so goddamn good when he's out there. It's too hard to let it go for me. Could be my 49er bias, but I'm willing to risk it for the biscuit with CMC this year. Number 6 is going to be Ramondre Stevenson of the New England Patriots. And you got to remember, before we look into this, they didn't even have Drake May till about midseason, right? So still had 800 yards rushing, 168 yards receiving, almost 1,000 total yards season, 8 TDs, which is likely. You like to see that number in the 10s, 207 rushing attempts, 3.87 yards per carry. And this is one of the things I'm going to get to in a minute about the yards per carry here. Running back was 28 ranked, not Ramondre Stevenson numbers, 11.7 points per game, 175.9 total points. Production premium, negative 11.4. So when you just look at Christian McCaffrey at +6, barely playing, that is how bad the production per touch was for Ramondre in the Patriots offense last season. Now, those numbers are also skewed to the beginning of the year, which was a very, very rough start for him. So snap share 62.7%. You expect that to come up to about 68-70 this season. I don't think you're going to see Gibson, or they could draft a back, in the draft coming up, because this class is, like I said, is totally loaded. Target share 9.3%. He's a great receiving back. You want to see those numbers go up? They don't even have any wide receivers. And obviously they brought in Diggs now, but why is this guy not getting more targets in an offense where there's nothing last year? It's very, very weird to me. Routes ran 103 was number 20. Explosive rating 93.9. You'd like to see that come up, but he couldn't even get out. He was buried in the trenches. So last year, they unleashed Drake about midway in the season. The offensive line is shambles. They're going to need to do a lot of offensive line work here in the draft. I even think they may trade back, get up Membo, or however you say his name, Membo out of Missouri, whatever. That they need big help here in the offensive line. And maybe they bring in Keenan Allen. Maybe they bring in Tyler Lockett. There's talks of that to help Drake May as well, that will open up the run game more for him. Maybe they look to draft a wide receiver early in the draft, because obviously Jalen Polko, I did not like it all last year, was not the guy. Let my guy Javon Baker loose and see what he can do. But Ramondre Stevenson at value right now in drafts at a running back position, you're going to get a high-end running back 2, which is amazing value you can snag right now. And he's going to bounce back and have the best year of his career this season. Number 7, finally heading over to the wide receiver side, and it is going to be the guy that was the end of the first round ADP pick last year that did not pay off at all, and that is Marvin Harrison Jr., the rookie out of Ohio State that was absolutely electric and then came to the Cardinals, and it was just a slow, sluggish season. But think about this for a second. When you're looking at the stats here, we look at 885 receiving yards. That's a bad year for him. That is probably the floor. So the ceiling is just going to be higher and higher and higher as he gets more integrated with the system, as he gets better, Kyler Murray rapport going on. 62 receptions, and look at the targets. Almost double the targets at a 50% reception rate is unheard of. Those numbers are not going to be the same this year. Still had 8 touchdowns. He's a big body frame. Remember that game where he had 2 touchdowns in a row? Absolutely. Here we go. Here comes Marvin Harrison Jr. And then it became the Trey McBride, all the receptions you could get show. So he finished wide receiver 30, 11.6 points per game, 195.6. Production premium negative. I don't think we'll ever see that again with Marvin Harrison Jr. At negative 6.2, there's no way that he's going to be a negative production player. Snap share 79.5%. I expect that to be in the 80s and 90s this season with the tier 1 wide receivers. Target share 22.2%. I expect that to be in the 25-27 range this year. Routes ran 526. That's electric. You like to see the route participation as well at 92%. You'd like to see that around 97, 98 for alpha wide receiver 1. Maybe about 570, 580 routes ran. That's usually how it goes. Now, like I said, the ADP value was one of the worst, right? And this is like a player, I know he's super young, 22 years old, but what if he doesn't hit again this year, right? And I'm way off on this, which I don't think I am, but if he doesn't hit again this year, I'm going to be really, really worried about Marvin Harrison Jr. here. Could they look to add some help in the draft? They could. They got James Conner back. They got Trey Benson behind him. Offensive line needs some work as well. That's what they should be looking at in the draft here. Maybe get a wide receiver too. But, man, Marvin Harrison Jr. is just going way too cheap right now in drafts. This guy's too good, and year 2 is loading. Heading over to the tight end side, number 8, Kyle Pitts. I know. This is the last dance, baby, and this is the dance where I want to be going to cotillion with him right here. I want to be dancing with him this year. The value is insane. In best ball right now, he's going round 12, 13, which is unbelievable. But we're going to look back at 2024 first. 602 receiving yards, 47 receptions, 74 targets, 4 TDs. Kirk Cousins was a shell of himself off the Achilles, so I got to remember that too. They brought in Penix for the last 2 weeks of the season. We'll talk about that in a second. Still was a top 15 tight end, 7.7 points per game, 131.2 points on the season. You like to see that up around 170, 190 this year. That's what I'm predicting. Production premium +3. Look at that. He's still productive. Just needs to get more involved. That's very, very solid production premium for a tight end, by the way. Snap share 62.6%. You like to see that in the 70s. You get target share at 13.7. You like to see that in the 20s. Routes ran 367. You like to see that 400 plus this season. Route participation 62.1. I can see that in the 68-70 range this season. Now, why am I bullish on this pick for Kyle Pitts after everyone? If you want to write him off, I'm totally okay with that. If you don't want to draft him, that is fine. But what you're missing here is the utilization of air yards. When Michael Penix came in, it was almost double what Kirk Cousins was doing. And when you look at the targets that Drake London was getting, Kyle Pitts was getting, and then you look back at Kirk Cousins and you go, he played 15 games with Kirk Cousins and had 3 20-point games. Then he played 2 games with Penix and had a touchdown in his first game with him, and 1 out of 2, he was +10. So it's going to be a different look. You have a massive offensive line. You have Bijan and Algier that they have to worry about. Michael Penix can create the pocket way more than Kirk Cousins' statue ever could. This is going to be the year that I am so bullish on all the Falcons. Drake London is going to be one of my very highest. We'll get to that later in my videos down the season here. But when you can get a guy this low, I'm going to say that his value right now is about round 12, 13, and he's going to return about top 7 tight end value, which is about round 6, 7, around there. And I'm enamored with picking Kyle Pitts at this value this season, and he's going to bounce back for all of his career since his rookie year. Number 9 is Dalton Kincaid of the Buffalo Bills, and man, I missed on this guy big time last year, especially at his hiccups at his ADP value. What a blunder it was for him. So 448 yards receiving, 44 receptions, 75 targets, only 2 TDs. Only 2 TDs his rookie year. Got to find the end zone. Got to find pay dirt here for Kincaid. Didn't even get any rushing yards. Usually see a little end around for the young tight ends, depending on the playbook, how it goes. Tight end rank was number 30 at 7.8 points per game, 100 points on the season. Absolutely atrocious. Production premium -19.2. That is the worst in the NFL for any tight end that was drafted in the first 10 rounds of fantasy football. That's how bad his production premium was on the field. It was atrocious. Snap share 57.5%. You'd like to see them phase out Dawson Knox and get him about the 67-70 range. Target share 20.2%. That's great. That's great. That's decent numbers for his value. And if you're getting 20.2% target share at a tight end that's drafted this late, why would you not take a shot on it? Routes ran 255. That was number 27. Route participation, you like to see this come up, 62.7. But again, they're a run-heavy offense. Josh Allen always carries it a lot too. So a lot different look there when you're thinking about the Bills offense that way. Now, what is different from updates you'll see and numbers you'll look at was that he was actually injured all year long with a hamstring, played through the injuries, and then I went back and looked at more tape on him. Why did he have such a bad year? And I just couldn't figure it out because I loved him coming out of college. I loved him, last year big time. And what you didn't see is that the defense is actually focused on him, kind of Travis Kelce bracketing. He was like a 50.3% doubled. So it was a lot tougher. Now you're going to have Keon Coleman in his second year. Khalil Shakir breakout happened. That's going to help him as well. You still have James Cook. You still have Josh Allen. And when you can get this guy at the value he's going right now, this is one of the best ways to build your roster around a tight end, unless you want to play the high-end tight ends. I'm fine with that as well. But I just think that the Dalton Kincaid year cannot be as bad as last. This man is too talented, and he's going to bounce back this year big time, and people are going to regret not drafting him. Number 10 is going to be Sam Laporta. If it counts as a bounce back, I'm going to use it because he was tight end 1 as a rookie, and the numbers he put up last year were not even close, right? So 726 receiving yards, 60 receptions, 83 targets, 7 touchdowns, tight end 8. You went from tight end 1 to tight end 8. That is a big dip. So 10.9 points per game. Total points 174. Production premium plus 5.5. That's top 5 in the NFL for tight ends. That is how good this man is when he's out there. Number 13 overall. So that's taking the entire NFL ranking. Snap share 85.4%. That's exactly what you want for your tight end. That is massive usage. Target share 17%. You'd like to see that come up in the 20s. So when you think about, and I'm talking Dalton Kincaid, and you're looking at Sam Laporta, 17% target share. Dalton Kincaid had a 20% target share. And way worse numbers. That's how bad the drop-off difference was. Routes ran 404. That's top 10. Route participation, top 10 as well, 73.6%. You have to love all of this. Now, it's going to be a different look. Ben Johnson is out of town. The running game is not going to look the same with the the duo, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery. Obviously, Jahmyr Gibbs, one of my favorite players in the NFL. But when Ben Johnson is gone, we're going to get John Morton in. It's going to be a different look. I think it's going to be more pass-heavy season. I'm not going to say super heavy pass because they have such a good run game and offensive line. It's not going to be super heavy. But it's going to be a different look. And the other thing is he was a hidden secret injury, kind of like Dalton Kincaid. He played with another hamstring injury throughout the season that he even talks about in videos and presses that he's had so far. So this man is going to have a monster season at value right here. And he's still super young. He's still going to be a probably top 5 candidate for tight end the next 5 years. So this is a must-draft bounce-back player at his value right now. It is way too good. Thanks for rocking with me today, guys. That is the end of the episode. That is my top 10 bounce back players, and I'm going to try and get my running backs out. Again, I alluded this a bit in the beginning of the video. It's just such a good class. It's hard for me to rank these running backs right now. I'm trying to get it to perfection. We do have big announcements coming. Me and Big Draft Energy, co-host of my show. I'm the co-host of his show. We now are releasing our Patreon, The Guys, which is going to help you guys get full-time access to us, but that is going to be launching Monday. That's just a little announcements drop for you right here. And as always, guys, if you have any questions, anything fantasy football does not have to pertain to this video, you can drop it in there. I will answer any comment that drops. I'm here to help you guys with fantasy football, dynasty trades, whatever you have. And as always, smash that like and subscribe. Help your boy out. It helps me a ton. You guys have been absolutely amazing. I cannot wait for the season to get here. And I'll be drafting live every single night at 8 p.m. Eastern. I'll be live again tonight here in about 2 hours. I'll be looking at some drafters, best ball drafts. And if you guys want to draft with me, hop on in, man. And that's it for me. Sleaze Bomb out. I'll catch you guys in the next one.